What if you were to listen to an internationally acclaimed, multi-award-winning illusionist, and he had something far more to say than, "Watch this trick"? Rick Thomas is that performer, ready to go far beyond his magic and far beyond your imagination as he shares secrets regarding our dreams. Dreams that can become reality. The future belongs to those who believe in the strength of their dreams. Dreams pass into the reality of action. From the action stems the dream again. And this interdependence produces the highest form of living. Join Rick and his co-host, award-winning broadcaster Tammy Trujillo, for Nothing Happens Until You Dream. Indulge your mind and take a journey never to be forgotten. A journey connecting all of our dreams as we chase them together.
Yeah, Rick, you and I keep on finding places where our lives have intersected, which is really weird. And one of them is that we went to the same college.
Long Beach City College.
Yes. And we're both in the Hall of Fame at Long Beach City College, which is totally cool.
Which I didn't know until I looked. I realized, oh my goodness, I know this person.
What are the odds that two people who meet would both be in the Long Beach City Hall of Fame? I mean, the intersections are just so weird between us. I keep on waiting for more because there probably are.
Well, I will thank you again for literally stepping up and putting these podcasts together for us. It may be my story, but you are truly the backbone in putting the podcast together. And I'm having a blast, and I'm so grateful for an amazing audience already listening to what I have to share.
Well, we're on the charts, as they say, with Apple Podcasts, which I just found out accidentally. Somebody let me know this, and I went, "You're kidding. Oh, my gosh. We're on the charts." That's wild.
After 5 weeks.
Who knows where it's going to go from here? So,
that's right. Keep listening. There's more to come.
There's a lot more to come. This story keeps on winding around and around. And people have talked to me this way. You know, I understood when Rick said this. That made sense to me. That resonated with me. That's happened to me. Or that explains something. The one thing I think I've gotten the most comments on of all the things that we've talked about so far is this concept of why when you wake up and you've had a dream, you are so totally convinced for those few seconds, as you explained with the subconscious, that it really, really happened until the other part of your brain takes up and it takes over and says, "You're an idiot." No, it didn't.
That's right. That's right. No, you're awake now.
Yeah.
Wake up. Actually talking to my brother-in-law about that as well. He had a conversation with me and had to tell me how vivid his life is with the dreams that he has. I'm so glad that people are getting something out of this. I need to go back, though, briefly from just the most recent podcast and touch upon part of it I didn't get a chance to share.
Oh, okay.
So if you'll let me do that before we move on, this is really important for me.
Okay.
And this is the grown-up side of being invisible. The last podcast was talking about making my sister vanish or making her invisible and can't see her. But there's a grown-up side to it as well. And in fact, invisibility is a big deal with grown-ups. So let me explain just briefly about becoming invisible. In the art of magic, we understand that if there's no reflection off of any object, you can't see it. Well, that's science, basically. And what it is your eye only sees what light reflects into it. So if you can eliminate any light that is being bounced off of an object or a subject, it is invisible.
Oh.
So light literally has to bounce off of something, and it bounces into your eye, and thus your eye sees. So if you could eliminate light waves and part light waves and separate them, so that what you're looking at has nothing that reflects off of it, it becomes invisible. And that is the concept in which magicians have been playing with forever to make something invisible in front of the human eye. Now, you can kind of wrap your head around it and go, how could they possibly do that? But that's our attempt. So I'm going to quote something that's in my new souvenir program. I'm very proud of this program. It took me many years to also put this together. And I have a quote from Catherine Schultz, and it needs to be said and quoted because there are some amazing people out there with really good thoughts, and I want to share this. So I quote, The story of invisibility is not really about how to vanish at all. Curiously enough, it is a story about how we see ourselves. We cannot even see the most important parts of ourselves, our thoughts, feelings, personalities, psyches, minds, souls. We have kept up the dream of turning fully invisible, for we have always been halfway there. We teach our children that it is what we are like on the inside, the unseen side, that counts. Invisibility could be a matter of being overlooked by the world around us. There's nothing easier than getting a human mind to ignore something it doesn't want to see. What is powerful and what we actually truly want is to be seen.
Whoa.
Unquote.
Wow. That explains a lot. Well, first off, it's given me an interesting idea of how some illusions are done, but but the quote explains something that somebody said to me a long time ago. This is when Facebook first started out, and I thought it was silly. I wasn't going to do it. And my assistant told me, wow, Tammy, guess what? I've just hit whatever milestone of friends on Facebook. And I said, so? I said, they're not really friends. You don't know them. If they walk down the street, you wouldn't recognize them. They don't know you. She said, but they know I exist.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't understand that, Tammy, because you're on the radio. People know you exist, but I'm not. And nobody knows I exist hardly. But now these X number of people know I exist. And I thought, that is so silly. But then I started to think about it. We all want to exist.
We do. We try so hard to be invisible or to become invisible or play with that thought process. But in reality, we all want to be seen.
Yeah. And I think that probably is part of why social media is such a big deal, because people are being seen, quote unquote. They exist, even if it's virtual, even if it is an illusion.
It's the cliche. Everybody needs their 15 minutes of fame.
Yeah. Wow.
You just need it,
Yeah,
right?
I guess.
I need to be needed and wanted. And
Recognized.
if you are invisible, as my sister was, your life kind of falls apart. So Facebook basically gives us purpose, I guess.
I guess social media has allowed people not to be invisible. They have a way of doing it if they haven't found another way, a way in the physical world to be visible. I didn't know there's so much science went into magic, though, too. That's amazing.
It really is science. It's all the playing with the mind, playing with different lights and effects and staging. There are so many things that go into it. But when you understand how light works and why we see things, then we attempt to try to make things invisible. And that's trying to create no light that bounces off of something.
Okay.
So good luck with that one. And come see my show and see how I make things disappear.
But I've got to ask you another question on that, because I've never even known this before. Okay, so in your theaters where you perform, you've got control of light.
Yes.
Because it's inside. But
Yes.
you've performed, and we're going to talk about this today, you've performed at outdoor venues like fairs and such.
Mm-hmm.
You have no control of the light at an outdoor venue.
Well, then you play with what you've got.
Okay.
Is that the best way to put it?
Okay.
You go, okay, so I can't do this, I can't do that, but I can do this. You know, after my first 2 years at Disney, I began performing at county fairs across the country, county and state fairs. Just, you know what? That's probably one of the greatest times of my life. The fairs are just a wonderful part of the America world that we live in. And if you've never been to a fair, you've got to go to one that they kind of bring you home. So the county fairs and also cruise ships were a big deal for me. And I had a blast going out there and performing, sometimes on the back of a flatbed truck.
Oh my gosh.
sometimes in a little hole somewhere in the back corner on hay bales. But whatever it was a great experience and part of my life, and growing and learning how to draw a crowd and cause people to want to watch the show.
Well, you've done all this fantastic stuff, in high school. You're already performing, you're doing all this stuff. And I can only imagine when you got out of high school, you said, I'm done with school, folks. I know where I'm going. I mean, you've always known where you're going. Technology to do it. You were already, and like your parents said something to, it was like, no, you're not done.
That's right. They forced me to finish school and then
Yes.
and I was already out there performing at fairs. How am I supposed to go to college and finish what my parents demanded of me and make it all happen?
Right.
Now, I think you'll remember that with our college, or at least in my scenario, I could go to college one semester.
Right.
I'd go to college for a semester. I'd stop for a semester and then go back for a semester, and I wouldn't lose any credits.
Right.
I could skip every other semester. So one semester I was in college. The other semester I was touring the world. One semester I was in college. Next semester I was touring the world. I don't know about you, but I'm lucky I got through college.
Well, wait, how do you go from, okay, because I love Long Beach City College. You know, we're both alumni there. I go back for cheerleader reunions. I've even taught there. It's great. But how do you go from touring the world where you're a big deal and you've got audiences applauding you and the whole 9 yards to college dude? I mean, really sitting in the student union and eating French fries and come on.
Frightened of my parents. Literally, it comes right down to that. I had respect for my parents. They literally wanted to make sure that their children were educated. Now, I'm going to tell you also that we're going to talk about college, but it doesn't mean that it always has to be college. It's whatever profession or way you have of continuing to learn beyond high school, you need to. And you just can't stop. You need to constantly learn throughout your entire life, throughout your existence. That's what this podcast is about. It's not specifically about it's got to be college.
Right.
It's got to be about constant learning and why you must continue to do so to make you a better person. I even still have nightmares that I missed a couple credits and I'm a couple credits short. I'll wake up from that subconscious mind and think that I lost a credit or two. And someone comes to me and says, you didn't really graduate from college. You don't have a degree. And it flips me out because I'm not going back to college.
Oh, no, I don't think so. I don't think so. So I know what people are thinking right now listening. They're saying, okay, what does a guy like Rick Thomas, who's touring the world, making things disappear and reappear, what does he take at Long Beach City College other than the stuff you have to take?
Well, first, because of my profession, my associate's degree is in fine arts.
Okay.
I was in the marching band. I did play the trombone for 16 years.
Whoa. Now we hit another one. So you've crossed the bridge.
Yes. Oh, the bridge at Long Beach City College.
The bridge over Carson. Oh my gosh, you have tried to make the bridge sway and marched over to Veterans Stadium. All my Long Beach City College friends are going to be just on the floor right now.
Okay, well, I never took part in that swinging on the bridge.
Okay.
Because I might have watched it, but
Okay.
I was not up there. Okay. You may have been. But,
I was.
Oh, goodness.
I didn't know you played trombone.
I played trombone, and I was actually in the jazz band at Long Beach City College.
Oh, my goodness.
That was a big deal. High school was big, and then, of course, moved that into the city, and then to state college. My state college, I went to Cal State Fullerton in California.
No. Hold on. Here we go again. That's where I graduated from.
Fullerton.
I did not know you went to Fullerton till right the second.
No way. I had many friends, of course, that went to Long Beach State.
Yes.
But Cal State Fullerton had a school of communications, not a degree in communications, but a school of communications and public relations within Fullerton. And for that reason, it held more weight in my graduation. So it was Fullerton, and that was the choice I made specific to my bachelor's degree.
And you're saying your bachelor's is in public relations?
Yes.
So is mine.
Communications degree.
So is mine. Oh, this gets weirder by the minute.
Yes, we need to stop this now.
It's never going to stop, I'm afraid. Oh my gosh. Okay. So I still cannot get how somebody can go from doing magnificent, crazy, amazing things one semester and sitting in a psychology class the next. That must have been crazy hard.
It was difficult. I was frustrated. I knew that the college was important as something that I guess was just constantly forced upon me.
Yeah.
That's the best way to continue to put it. But I just also knew that it would be something that I would look back on and regret if it wasn't accomplished. Also, I was on my own, and it gave me a chance to go out on the road and make money. And then for a semester, in school, focus on school and not as much work. I was lucky in that scenario. So I would go to school and I'd focus on school. And then the next semester, I'd make the money I needed to make to get me through the next semester of school. And I really still to this day don't know how I got through it, but I did. The world was screaming at me, get out there and discover the world. My father, who is no longer with us, he passed on some short time ago, but he was a wonderful educator. He taught me that the greatest education also is traveling the world, and that I have done.
Mm-hmm.
And he spoke fluent Spanish. He loved Latin America. He made sure we traveled there often. So he just made sure that we were well-rounded people and we understood life around us. And that's going to be one of the key points I talk about why he made sure I went to college. I learned once I got through college, my frustrations were, why am I going to college?
Right.
Why am I studying all these different things that have nothing to do with what I want to be and what I want to do?
Mm-hmm. I think everybody in college right now is going, exactly.
Mm.
Yeah.
There's a massive, this is my favorite word, plethora. There is a plethora of information that is given to you in college. And most of it, you scratch your head and go, why am I here? This has nothing to do with what I want to be. So I'm going to just now share with you, these are the points. And this is what this literally, I believe that this is about today. And that is, it taught me to understand other people and to care about their lives. It's the foundation of understanding the world around.
Mm-hmm.
That's why when you go to college, not only are you there to try to figure out who you are, the college teaches you something about everything. It teaches you about other people's professions.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are at a party and you have nothing to say, as I often do,
Yes.
if you've listened to previous podcasts, you can talk to people and understand where they're coming from and have knowledge about the world around you and have educated conversation. It is to make you a better person in the world you live in. So when you start understanding that constant learning in college is to make you a better person, to become a better individual in society and to understand other people better, then you understand the foundation of why education is so important. And it's not just about you and as you come out of college, the degree you have and what it's going to do for you, but how it makes you a much more well-rounded individual in the world around you.
I hope a lot of our audience is college students. I really do, because that will make taking some of these gen ed classes that you're forced to take a lot easier, because I know I fought my way through some of them. I hated some of them. I thought, you're wasting my time. I got to get out there. It was tough to be concerned about things that I wasn't concerned about. So It makes perfect sense, though, now that we can look back at it.
You've got to continue to learn. And that's even beyond college.
Oh, yeah.
Once I got out of college, in fact, my last couple semesters was the first few semesters that computers actually came out.
Oh.
And I didn't know anything about them. Mm-hmm. Then I went out on cruise ships and I got my first computer. I started creating my own promotional content and I taught myself the computer while on cruise ships performing across the world. And I taught myself as computers progressed how to edit music. And then from there, how to edit and mix video. And to this day, I do all my video and audio production for my show and all of my advertising. My son, Brandon, is in computer science. Mm-hmm. We didn't have that when I was in college. Okay. So how do you learn? You have to learn on your own. Mm-hmm. And I was really lucky that I had that opportunity to have that computer in my cabin and learn and continue. You've got to continue to learn. And this is another important point. Understanding and caring for others will place you in a very positive light in this world. It's the advantage of strength, not weakness, in our social relations that's critical to success, if that kind of makes sense. You've got to literally understand and listen to what other people have to give. Everybody's important. Everyone has a life. When you put those people up, maybe even on a pedestal, and you applaud them for their successes and their strengths, it is an example of strength, not weakness, to other people. So I am extremely grateful that my parents forced me to go to college. But don't stop learning even once you graduate.
Yeah, I had no idea what I was doing in college. At Long Beach City, I did childhood education because I had no other clue what to do. And I kept saying, Mom, I don't want to do this. Let me just go out and get a job. And she pushed me too. And by the time I got to Fullerton, I had a much better idea of what I was doing and things started to make some sense. But nobody in my family had graduated college ever before. My mom never went to college. And she was darn determined because she saw how the world had changed since she was a young lady. She was darn determined that I'd have a degree in something. And I thank her for that too, even though I fought oh my gosh, I fought fiercely not to do this. But you're right. You need to finish. And I have students who say, I'm going to drop out for a couple of years and come back. You won't come back.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
You came back because you had this on again, off again semester plan. Okay. And that made you come back. Plus your parents were holding something over your head.
Yes, constant.
Yeah. But once you quit on your own, and if nobody forces you to go back in some way, you're not going to go back. I have so many friends who your nightmare dream of being a few credits short is their reality.
Yes.
And they would love now to go back and teach college, and they can't because they're 1 or 2 classes short of that degree. And they can't do something now in later life they would love to do because it would be fun. It would be extra money in some cases, that's important. But they can't because a choice they made 40 years ago to just bail, knowing that they shouldn't. So, no, you're right. You have to do things in their time.
Even then, when you're saying that you look back on it and wish you had done something more, you need to live your life that way. Give it everything you've got. We're all going to fail. We're all going to have challenges in life, but just give it everything you've got. College right now is a hot topic.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going into politics right now
No.
or political forgiveness. But I'm going to tell you right now, college is a huge topic at this moment.
Yes.
So I'm going to tell you that we understand that there are a lot of people who have their challenges with their debt in college, and people are struggling to take care of it. And there are those that want to fix that issue. What I'm going to tell you about college is this. You are listening to 2 people who graduated from both a city and a state college.
Mm-hmm.
I had to pay for my college, but it was extremely affordable.
Yes.
Don't always think that you have to go to a college that is going to cost you your entire life having to pay it back or whatever the scenario is. You can get through college and find a college that you can afford and still have a degree that's worth its weight in gold. So please, I beg of you, don't think that going to college is how much money you spend.
No.
Go to college because it is an education, because it is going to teach you more about life. Now, that's the same thing as if it's not college and you go out and learn a specific job. Do that. I recently, a few years ago, went and got a Class A license to drive semi-trucks.
I know that, and this is true, and I couldn't believe it either. I thought, what? I know why, but let's tell everybody why you decided you needed to drive semis, because first off, that would scare me to death to even try.
At one point, one of the trucks that were supposed to be at one of my performances didn't make it. The driver was unable to drive. If somebody at that point had a license and they could hop in the truck, I would have been able to complete the show.
Oh.
At that point in my mind, I said, you know what? I'm never going to let this happen again. I went back to school.
I'll do it myself.
I went back to school. I sat down at a desk and they gave me a big book and I opened it up and I started learning about driving a semi truck.
Oh my God.
And you know what I appreciated and know what I realized? That I appreciate the trucking industry now more than ever before. If you're driving on the road and you literally step away from being in your car and just look about what's on the highway, it is ruled by truckers because this is how our country exists.
Yes.
And you should be proud of and appreciate what they do for us. And that gave me more than anything an appreciation for another part of our world that we live in that I didn't have near the appreciation before. So as far as truck drivers go, I tip my hat to you, or my baseball cap, as many of you may wear driving your trucks. And I can tell you without a doubt, I am so thrilled to have obtained a license that allows me to now drive a truck as well. So I began driving the semi truck to all of my tour dates. And I have found it to be awesome. Just wonderful. I have a cast and crew that will drive in cars and or buses whenever we need them. And Rick Thomas drives the semi. So often the cast will get out and they'll say, well, where's Rick? And they'll go, he's driving the truck. And they'll go, well, that's your truck driver. Where's Rick? No,
exactly.
The truck driver is the illusionist, Rick Thomas.
I think you're the
and you know what it is?
Oh my gosh.
It's just continuing to learn.
Yes.
And you know what? During COVID, please, you have no idea how close I came to saying, you know what? I love my magic career, but I'm going to get in a truck and I'm going to get out there and I'm going to do what I can for the United States
Oh my God.
and the world around me and drive a truck. I don't care who it's for. I don't care if it's for a grocery store or
gosh.
I got to drive across country, whatever it is. Literally, I was at a point that I realized that as an illusionist, I had very little worth during the time of COVID. Greatest worth I had in my back pocket was my license to drive a semi. And I was willing to do that. So you understand. But I will tell you that I went home to Tara and after the first day and I said, I'm back in school. I was in tears, almost in tears. I said, I'm back in school. I had no idea what you have to know and understand, including the entire front to back of a truck, the engines, the trailers, the wheels, everything that you need to know in driving a semi. And it was definitely school all over again. And I had those horrible dreams again that I graduated 2 credits too few.
Oh no, that's what fired that up again. Oh my gosh. I have interviewed truck drivers. I actually have during the pandemic when we talked about the supply chain and all of that. And I couldn't believe how much they had to know. We think they just need to know how to drive that massive thing and back it up and not crash into anything. And you're right. They know that vehicle from nose to tail.
Yes.
Or I should say you guys know that vehicle from nose to tail.
We also see things that the rest of you don't. There are signs on the highway specific to truckers, and you don't see them. We as drivers see them. Once you start driving a truck, you see everything. You see not only the cars, but the signs, the railroad tracks, the ramps on the side of the road, how far off you are. We in cars, we're kind of a little less. We just don't see the world around us like a truck driver does. And they really do. We know how low every bridge is. We know those bridges are critical to where you can drive your truck.
Yes.
You get in your car and you just drive anywhere you want. It doesn't matter. But a truck driver needs to know, I can't go down this highway because there's 2 bridges too low for my truck. I've got to find a different route.
How do you know that ahead of going that way, though? I've always wondered. Tell me this, Rick, the truck driver.
Well, luckily, in modern times with modern technology, we have apps for that.
Oh, well, okay. Of course you do. Of course you do.
There are apps for that. You can put your location in and the apps will tell you that it's warning you that there's a bridge that's too low or an area that you can't go through. But I remember those Thomas guides that I had to pull out and try and figure out where we were going in Los Angeles.
Oh, good luck.
It was mind bending.
I know.
But now it's a little easier, but we still have to be aware. I remember even in my test when I was driving the truck and the instructor, they do this on purpose. So anybody driving a truck, be prepared. It's funny. So in taking the test and the instructor guiding you through an area where they know that there is a bridge that's low, the truck can still pass under it. But in my scenario, we would pass under the bridge and about 3 minutes later, the instructor would say, what was the height of the bridge we passed? And then you'd have to blurt out, it was 15 feet or whatever it may have been. And that's the point. You as a truck driver see things that you never saw before. And it's intriguing that that's a question that's asked because they want you to know, embedded in your head, that you know exactly what's going on in that world around you.
Wow. I have learned you've got to give truckers a lot of space on the road because those things, they don't stop on a dime. And there, when I was a traffic reporter, there were so many accidents involving big trucks. And I learned it's usually a car's fault.
It takes one football field for a truck to stop at full speed. I'm repeating it again, 1 football field. So wrap your head around it and stop following trucks close. Here we are talking about education and learning and going to college, and we end up talking about trucks. But do you see how your knowledge and understanding and continually learning help you to understand a different part of the world we live in? With everyone being important and everybody have a story to tell, you need to know everybody's story. You need to know why they're a doctor and what you can maybe share with them that you know about them being a doctor, and listen to them intently because you understand where they may be coming from, or a nurse or a lawyer, whatever it is, you understand the world a little bit better and you have a better ability to be part of this world. Stay educated and enjoy the ride.
Well, that's one of my favorite questions. Why are you a whatever you are? I love that question. And you get great answers sometimes.
And you don't have to say more than that. You just sit back and let it ride. You say, and go ahead, share me your life. Because everybody wants to share their life.
Oh,
and
they
that's,
do. They
oh,
do.
Goodness.
Again, it goes right back to, I want to be seen. I want you to hear my story because, gee, you're making me feel like somebody really wants to hear my story. And we all want that.
We don't truly want to be invisible. You're right. We all want to be seen.
Thanks for joining us this week on Nothing Happens Until You Dream, starring Rick Thomas and featuring Tammy Trujillo, and is based on Rick Thomas's best-selling book, The Tiger Whisker, available on rickthomas.com. We hope you enjoyed this episode. We'd love for you to subscribe and leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts. And check us out on Patreon for exclusive members-only content. Stay up to date with Rick and Tammy at nothinghappensUntilYouDream.com. Remember, you must follow your dreams, not only for yourself, but for the rest of our future. We'll see you on the next episode.